I'm Al from Beacon Capital Partners, and Beacon owns over 50 large office buildings, commercial office properties in some major cities in the United States and Europe, and I oversee the operations with a particular focus on energy and sustainability. I started working with enernoc quite a few years ago. Part of that demand response program, you get a little bit of software with it, and that software shows the real-time electric use. A couple years back, I started looking at this, and I looked at a few properties, and I saw there was a lot of similarities and patterns in terms of how electricity was used in office buildings in different parts of the United States. But I also saw some variances. And I started to look into it in more detail. And what I found was that there's a lot that can be done if you have the information. We started looking at how our buildings started up in the morning, how they shut down at the end of the day, what they were doing at night, and how they handle themselves over the weekends. And the results have been pretty amazing. We've been able to save now on a run rate several $1 million a year, and it cost us almost nothing. It's really a great program. I'm going to show you some of the things that we learned and how we do it. Many properties have, if not all of them, something they call optimum start. But when we looked at it, it's kind of almost a misnomer. Instead of being optimum start, it was like non-optimum start. It almost made no sense at any of our properties. Here's a perfect example. One of our properties outside of Washington, D.C. It's a good-sized office building. In this case, it's got DX units for air conditioning. And here you see on these graphs here, along the bottom are days, and on the vertical axis is the kilowatts. You can see that the HVAC system was coming on sometimes like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. Maybe there's a good reason for that, but when we looked into it, we saw that they were hitting what's called the space temperature, the desired temperature for the tenants, within 60 minutes. Now, the tenants don't come into work till 7. That's when the lease hours start. So they had cooled down the building from the night before, hours and hours and hours in advance of when it was needed. So we worked with them on this and said, listen, I know you got to vary this based on air temperature outside and humidity, what the forecast is going to be, but I know you can do better. So work with the chief engineer, and sure enough, in very short order, as you can see on the data, now they're starting their property up quite a few hours later and getting some significant savings. I would say that 80 to 90% of our properties have been able to make substantial improvements in terms of how they start up their properties. It really has worked almost everywhere. As you can probably tell, this enernoc software has been just a huge value to us. We've gotten a tremendous reduction in energy costs. I'm able to look at our entire portfolio. I'm able to look at an individual property. I can compare one property to the other in a similar location. We've all done this. We've saved millions with spending almost no money by making these operational changes.